We are 3-0 with a push in our last four board member tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also 5-1 with a push in our last 7 picks in that very same category. We got ourselves a solid board member tier package pick going off today. And if you want to join the 775 members that are signed up and active on that page, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/Brock Page. Now, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, they square off against the Oklahoma Sooners, and that's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off at the Lloyd Noble Center. Texas Tech is -2.5 away from home. Total's 136 and a hook. Please do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up if you end up enjoying it by smashing that like button. And please feel free to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Now, Texas Tech is coming off a tough 1-point loss to Kansas in their last outing. Now, the Red Raiders were actually held to just 57 total points scoring that night. Texas Tech has also been pretty bad against the spread this season, 0-3 against the number in their last 3 straight, 2-4 against the spread in their last 6. Now, McClung and McCullough are both listed as questionable for the Raiders. Guys are a little bit banged up. Texas Tech has also failed to cover the number in 5 out of their last 6 on the road against Oklahoma. And speaking of the Sooners, they're on a 3-game winning streak themselves, 5-1 straight up overall for the season. The Sooners are scoring over 85 points per contest, and they're shooting 48% from the field. Brady Manick is scoring 17 points a night along with 5 rebounds. The 6'9 senior is also making 86% of his free throws, and he has 6 blocks thus far on the season. Manick's also drilling 45% of his three-pointers. Big guy, definitely a threat from long range. Now, Austin Reeves is also scoring over 16 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for the senior. Reeves is making over 89% of his free throws, and he has 4 steals on the year as well. The Sooners are holding their opponents to just 40% shooting from the field, and when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Oklahoma's last 5 ball games got over the posted total, throwing out the HBU contest. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Oklahoma Sooners plus 2.5 and the over 136 and a hook in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for college basketball here on a Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you guys. Hopefully you had a great start to your week. Now, before we go ahead and dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, just got to quickly remind you once again that we are 3-0 with a push in our last 4 board member tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. We also went 5-1 with a push in our last 7 board member picks in that same category. Now, you might be wondering, why would you sign up for picks on Patreon and pay for them, where you can get them right here for free on YouTube? And that's certainly a great thought, a great consideration. I'd probably be thinking the same thing if I were you. But just hear me out real quick, because if you were to go out there and bet every single game that's on the board, side and total, like I do with my breakdowns here on YouTube, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. I strongly advise against betting every single game on the board. The books are just way too smart. They're way too sharp with the numbers. The odds become massively more against you the more and more games you play like that. And to be honest with you, the bookies just have so much more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that type of reckless action. So what I do on Patreon is I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But anyway, just make life a lot easier for you, breaking it down and focusing in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're my personal plays, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, I'm having a lot more success betting on games that way versus wagering on every single game on the slate, side and total. Now, once again, we currently have over 775 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, I'd love to have you on that site, and link for that website is in the description section below. And once again, that is patreon.com/Brock Page. And moving on, we're going to take a look at some Big Ten action. I'm talking about Nebraska versus Wisconsin, and that's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off at the Kohl Center. The Badgers are minus 17 with the total at 141.5. Now, the Badgers have failed to cover the number in 3 out of their last 6, throwing out that Louisville game. Gilmore and Carlson are both listed as questionable for the Badgers as well. Now, Wisconsin's failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 8 meetings with the Cornhuskers, so if you're into historical trends, it's certainly favoring Nebraska. And speaking of Nebraska, they find themselves scoring 82 points per contest, and they won 3 out of their last 5. Nebraska is holding their opponents to just 69 points per contest and just 39% shooting from the field. Teddy Allen is scoring over 18 points a game along with 6 rebounds and 3 steals. Allen's actually recorded 19 total steals thus far in the season. Meanwhile, sophomore guard Delano Banton is also scoring 14 points a night along with 8 rebounds and 6 assists. The 6'9 guard has also recorded a dozen steals defensively along with 9 total blocks. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, Nebraska's lone game away from home this year did get over the posted number. Meanwhile, Wisconsin saw their last 3 straight ball games get over the line themselves. 5-1 to the over officially as the home team. I'm going to lean toward yet another underdog. Give me the underdog Nebraska Cornhuskers plus 17 and the over 141.5. All right, next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Northeastern versus Georgia, 7 p.m. Eastern tip at the Coliseum. The Georgia Bulldogs are minus 9.5 with the total at 145 and a hook. Now, Georgia saw 3 out of their last 5 qualifying games get over the posted number. Meanwhile, this pesky Northeastern squad on the other side saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line themselves, throwing out the Old Dominion contest. I do think that this ball game will end up getting over the posted number. And if you want to find out who I think is going to cover this number, whether it's a powerful Georgia squad laying the points or a very good covering team in Northeastern keeping it within double digits, please feel free to go to my Patreon website right now. This game is being featured as my daily best play. It only costs just $1.99, and you'll actually get 1 premium pick every day through the end of the month if you sign up here today. It's literally a game that I personally have my money on, and it's not just $1.99 every day or $1.99 for every pick. It's literally just $1.99 to receive a pick a day through the end of December. It's literally pennies on the dollar. So with all that said and done, I'm going to be betting the sides in this one as my daily best play, and I'm also going to lean toward the over 145.5 in that contest. All right, next matchup I have for you. It's actually not on our big screen behind me, but it's definitely a game of interest. This should be a good one. I'm talking about Louisville versus Pitt, and that's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern tip in the Steel City. The Louisville Cardinals are the 3-point favorite. Totals 137, juice to the under. The Pitt Panthers are plus $1.35 for an upset win. Now, Pitt's on a 5-game winning streak, 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 straight as well. Pitt's allowing just 64 points per contest, and they're holding their opponents to just 38% shooting from the field. Justin Champagnie is scoring 18 points a night, along with over a dozen rebounds a game. Now, the sophomore from Brooklyn has 6 steals and 6 blocks thus far in the year. Meanwhile, junior guard Aldis Toney is scoring over 16 points a game, along with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Now, Toney's also recorded 8 steals and a couple of blocks defensively himself. The Pitt Panthers are holding their opponents to just 26% shooting from beyond the arc. Now, they are taking on a Louisville squad who's coming fresh off a humiliating 37-point loss to Wisconsin in their last outing. Completely blown out, weren't even competitive in that contest. Now, the Cards have also been a pretty bad covering team as of late, just 1-3 against the spread in their last 4. And when it comes to the total in this one, Louisville saw 3 out of their last 4 get over the posted number. Meanwhile, Pitt saw 3 out of their 4 home games get over the line themselves. Guys, we're going to lean toward yet another underdog. Give me the underdog Pitt Panthers +3 and the over 137 in that game. All right, next matchup. This should be a good one. I'm talking about Purdue versus Iowa, 9 p.m. Eastern start time at the Carver Hawkeye Arena. Iowa's the 6-point favorite. Total's 153.5. The Purdue Boilermakers are +240 for an upset win on the road. Now, as good as they've been straight up, Purdue's been a really bad covering team over the past couple of weeks. They failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 5. They're also just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7. Purdue's also struggled to get the job done away from home, just 22% against the spread in their last 18 road games dating back to last season. Now they're taking on an Iowa team who's 6-1 straight up on the year themselves, 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. Their lone loss came against Gonzaga. I believe that was in the season opener. But anyway, the Hawkeyes are averaging 99 points per contest and shooting over 50% from the field. Luka Garza is scoring over 29 points a night, along with 9 rebounds. The 6'11 senior is also drilling 62% of his three-pointers, and he has 16 total blocks thus far in the year. Joe Wieskamp is also scoring 16 points a game along with 6 rebounds and a couple assists. Wieskamp is drilling 47% of his three-pointers himself. The Hawkeyes are currently undefeated on their home court this season. And when it comes to the total in this one, pretty alarming stat here. Iowa's a perfect 7-0 to the over thus far in the season. 70% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Purdue. And speaking of Purdue, 2 out of their last 3 ball games got over the line themselves. 3-1 to the over away from home this season. I'm going to lean toward the Iowa Hawkeyes -6 and the over 153.5. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be West Virginia versus Kansas, 9 p.m. Eastern start time at the Allen Fieldhouse. The Kansas Jayhawks are -1.5, totals 138. The Jayhawks have failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 5 qualifying ball games. Kansas has also failed to cover the number in 2 out of their last 3 as the home team. The Jayhawks are shooting just 43% from the field on their home court. They're also taking on a red-hot West Virginia team who's on a 4-game winning streak themselves. They're also 4-1 straight up in their games away from home this season. The West Virginia Mountaineers are giving up just 68 points per contest, and they're holding their opponents to just 27% shooting from beyond the arc. They've been very good defensively. Miles McBride is scoring 15 points a game along with 4 rebounds, 4 assists. The sophomore from Cincinnati has also recorded 15 steals defensively and a couple of blocks as well. And speaking of blocks, 6'10 junior Derek Culver has double-digit blocks on this season himself. 14 points a game, 11 boards for the forward he's averaging. And when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of West Virginia's last 4 ball games got over the posted number, throwing out the Indiana State game. They're also 60% to the over in their games away from home. I'm going to lean toward the underdog West Virginia Mountaineers +1.5 and the over 138 in that contest. And with that, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. For some reason, this is not located on our big screen behind me, but definitely a game of interest. I'm talking about North Carolina versus NC State, and that's going to be a 9 p.m. Eastern start time at the PNC Arena. The North Carolina Tar Heels are -1.5 on the road, totals 145 and a hook. Now the Tar Heels are on a 2-game winning streak, 5-2 straight up overall for the season. UNC is giving up just 66 points per contest, and they're holding their opponents to just 40% shooting from the field. Garrison Brooks is scoring a dozen a game along with 7 rebounds. The 6'10 senior also has 4 steals and 5 blocks defensively. And of course, forward Armando Bacot is also scoring over 11 points a night along with 9 rebounds himself. The 6'10 sophomore from Richmond has also recorded 8 blocks thus far in the season as well. UNC's won 9 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Wolfpack. They also successfully covered the number in 80% of those contests. And speaking of NC State, they failed to cover the point spread in their last two straight. Failures to cover against the likes of St. Louis and Campbell. And as a matter of fact, the game against St. Louis was a double-digit loss where they were held to just 69 points. Now, the Wolfpack failed to cover the number in their last five straight, hosting the Tar Heels. So if you're into historical trends, certainly not in the favor of NC State backers. And of course, when it comes to the scoring in this one, NC State saw 3 out of their last 4 ball games stay under the posted number. Meanwhile, North Carolina saw, their last 2 straight stayed under the line themselves. Now, the Tar Heels are officially 6-1 to the under for the entire season. So I'm going to lean toward the UNC Tar Heels -1.5 and the under 145 and a hook in that game. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 3-0 with a push in our last 4 board member tier package picks. I like Oklahoma +2.5 over 136 and a hook. I also like Nebraska +17 over 141.5. Now, the Northeastern Georgia contest is being featured as my daily best play on my Patreon website. It only costs $1.99 to find out who I'm taking to cover the point spread in that one. But I'm also leaning toward the over 145.5 in that contest. I also like the Underdog Pitt Panthers +3 over 137. I'm leaning toward Iowa -6 over 153.5. I'm also leaning toward West Virginia +1.5 over 138. And last but certainly not least, please give this video a thumbs up right now if you enjoyed it by smashing the like button. And I also like the North Carolina Tar Heels -1.5 and the under 145 and a hook in that contest. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout-outs. And from our YouTube platform, shout out to Scott Kaler, Ant Ruga, Bo Dunn, RecShop51, Dongmo Joseph, Kevin Taylor, Arthur Meade Jr., Armando Garcia, DeJuan Haynes, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my friend, Straight to the Point. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.